I was putting the finishing touches on what I hoped would be a perfect homecoming dinner. After 5 long days, Harper was finally returning from her girls' trip to Miami with her friends. The apartment smelled of her favorite garlic butter salmon candles flickered on our dining table, and I had even picked up a bouquet of sunflowers, the ones that always made her smile. I missed her more than I expected to, and I could not wait to hear all about her adventures. As I heard keys jingling at the door, my heart raced with anticipation. But when she walked in, something felt off immediately. Truer words were never spoken than these: you never really know someone until you see them change. Before I tell you about the biggest shock of my life, let me know where you are watching from, and hit subscribe so you do not miss more valuable life lessons like this one. Some things seem unbreakable until 3 years ago I met Harper at a tech convention downtown. I was there representing my software company, demonstrating our latest security program. She approached my booth not because she was interested in cybersecurity, but because she had been dared by her coworkers to get my number. Harper worked in marketing for a competing firm, and her bold approach caught me completely off guard. What struck me immediately were her intelligent questions and genuine interest in my work, despite knowing little about the technical aspects. We exchanged numbers, and by the end of that week we had our first date at a little Italian restaurant by the river. From the beginning, Harper and I just clicked. We shared similar values about family, career ambitions, and even how many kids we wanted someday. 2, by the way. We both loved hiking on weekends, binging obscure documentaries, and trying exotic foods from different countries. Our relationship progressed naturally and steadily. After a year of dating, we moved in together into a cozy apartment in the city center. Every morning I would wake up amazed that I had found someone who understood me so completely. 6 months ago, I proposed at that same Italian restaurant where we had our first date. I had arranged with the owner to reserve our original table, decorated with photos chronicling our relationship. When the dessert arrived, the waitstaff had written, "Will you marry me?" in chocolate sauce around the plate. Harper cried happy tears as I got down on one knee and presented her with the sapphire engagement ring she had once pointed out in a jewelry store window. She said yes without hesitation, and the entire restaurant erupted in applause. That night we stayed up until 3 in the morning, calling friends and family to share our happiness. Planning for our fall wedding began almost immediately. Harper created elaborate Pinterest boards and spreadsheets tracking everything from potential venues to flower arrangements. Every weekend became dedicated to some wedding-related task, visiting venues, meeting with caterers, or shopping for the perfect accessories. Despite the stress that often comes with wedding planning, we remained solid as a team, compromising when necessary, and supporting each other through every decision. Harper had a close-knit group of girlfriends from college: Jessica, Amanda, Tiffany, and Kate. Jessica was her maid of honor, a bubbly extrovert who worked as a travel agent. Amanda, always the organized one, had planned this Miami trip as a pre-wedding celebration for Harper. I had always gotten along well with all of her friends, though Jessica occasionally made comments about how Harper was settling down too young that rubbed me the wrong way. Still, I was glad Harper had such loyal friends who wanted to celebrate this special time with her. About 2 weeks before the trip, I started noticing subtle changes in Harper. She began texting more frequently with Jessica, often chuckling to herself while looking at her phone. When I would ask what was funny, she would just say, "Girl stuff," or change the subject. One night I overheard her on the phone talking about someone named Zach. When I asked her afterward, she explained that he was a DJ and musician friend of Jessica who lived in Miami and might show them some local hotspots during their trip. Something about her overly casual explanation left me with an uneasy feeling, but I pushed it aside. Harper and I had always trusted each other completely, and I refused to become the jealous, controlling fiancé. The night before Harper left for her trip, I surprised her with a special dinner and a small travel gift, a new beach cover-up she had been eyeing online. She seemed touched but distracted, checking her phone repeatedly throughout the meal. When I asked if everything was okay, she assured me she was just confirming last-minute details with the girls. As we went to bed that night, I held her close, trying to shake the strange feeling that something fundamental had shifted between us. I told myself I was being paranoid, and that everything would be back to normal after she returned from the trip. During the first day of Harper's trip, she sent multiple photos and messages: pictures of their hotel room with its ocean view, selfies with the girls at the beach, and texts about how much she missed me. By the second day, her messages became less frequent. "Poor reception at the beach club," she explained. On the third day, the group photos started appearing on Instagram, and that was when I first saw Zach, tall with styled dark hair, and the confident stance of someone used to being the center of attention. He appeared in most of the group photos, often standing next to Harper. By day 4, Harper's messages had dwindled to brief good morning and good night texts. When I called in the evening, the call went to voicemail. She texted back 20 minutes later that they were at a noisy club, and she could not hear. I noticed she had posted 3 new photos on Instagram from this club, including one where she and Zach were laughing together, his arm casually draped across the back of her chair. I felt a knot forming in my stomach, but reminded myself that these were just harmless vacation photos. Groups of friends hang out together all the time. There was nothing inherently wrong with Harper enjoying her trip. On the morning Harper was supposed to return, she called to tell me she had missed her flight. The girls wanted to hit one last beach club, and we lost track of time, she explained. I managed to book another flight for tomorrow morning. Are you mad? I assured her I was not angry, just disappointed we would have to wait another day to see each other. That night, scrolling through Amanda's latest Instagram posts, I saw the last beach club photos, including one timestamped 2 hours before Harper's scheduled flight. They could have easily made it to the airport on time if they had wanted to. When Harper finally arrived home the following evening, she seemed different, distant. She barely reacted to the special dinner I had prepared, picking at her food and checking her phone every few minutes. The salmon had grown cold as I waited for her delayed taxi from the airport. When I asked about the trip, she gave vague general answers. It was fun. The beaches were beautiful. Jessica got so drunk one night. Nothing specific, nothing detailed, nothing that indicated she had missed me or was happy to be home. After dinner, I suggested we watch a movie and catch up properly. Harper claimed she was too tired and wanted to go to bed early. When I joined her in bed and tried to initiate intimacy, something we had both been looking forward to according to our texts earlier in the week, she turned away saying she was exhausted from traveling. I lay awake next to her for hours, listening to the unfamiliar rhythm of her breathing. Around 2 a.m, her phone buzzed. In the dim light, I saw her check. It responded quickly, and then turned the phone face down before pretending to fall back asleep. The following morning, Harper spent an unusually long time in the shower. When she emerged, she had already dressed and applied makeup, something she rarely did for a regular day at home. She made coffee without offering me any, which was another break from our usual routine. As I stood awkwardly in our kitchen, feeling like a stranger in my own home, she finally looked up from her phone and said the words that would change everything: "We need to talk." She sat down at our dining table, the same one where we had shared countless meals and made so many plans for our future. I joined her, my coffee untouched, my stomach in knots. "I have been doing a lot of thinking during this trip," she began, not quite meeting my eyes. "I am not sure I am ready for marriage yet. There is still so much I want to experience, so much self-discovery I need to do." I listened, my heart racing, as she continued. "What would you think about an open relationship, just until the wedding? A chance for both of us to be sure this is what we want." The room seemed to tilt around me. An open relationship. After 3 years together, 6 months before our wedding, I struggled to form words to make sense of what she was suggesting. Where is this coming from? I finally managed to ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Did something happen in Miami? Harper's defensive reaction told me everything I needed to know before she even spoke. "This is not about Miami," she insisted, though her eyes darted away. "This is about me not feeling ready to be tied down forever. Is it so wrong to want to explore my options?" "Your options," I repeated, my shock turning to anger. "We are engaged, Harper. We have been planning our wedding for months. You were excited about it last week. What changed?" After nearly an hour of circular conversation, with Harper becoming increasingly frustrated by my questions, I finally demanded the truth. "Is this about Zach, the DJ from Miami?" Her face flushed, and I knew I had hit the mark. "It is not just about him," she admitted finally. "But yes, we connected. He understands the creative part of me in a way that is different. We have a special connection." The pain that shot through me was physical, like someone had driven a knife into my chest. "Did you sleep with him?" I asked, needing to know the full extent of her betrayal. Harper looked away, her silence confirming my worst fears. "It just happened," she whispered finally. "I did not plan it, but it made me realize there are experiences I might miss if I get married now." I stood up, needing space, needing air. "I am going for a walk," I told her, grabbing my keys. "Do not follow me. I need to think." During my 3-hour walk through the city, my mind raced with questions and doubts. Had there been signs I missed? Was I not enough for her? Could our relationship survive this? By the time I returned to our apartment, I had made a decision. I needed to know everything before deciding how to proceed. Harper was in the shower when I got back. Her phone lay on the coffee table, and for the first time in our relationship, I felt justified in checking it. What I found shattered any remaining hope. Dozens of messages between her and Zach, dating back weeks before the trip. Intimate photos. Plans to meet again. According to their messages, Jessica had introduced them via social media almost a month ago, and they had been talking daily ever since. Most devastating were the messages about me. He is a good guy, but so predictable, Harper had written. Sometimes I feel like I am settling because it is safe. Zach had responded. You deserve passion and adventure, not just safety. Life is too short for settling. When Harper emerged from the bathroom, I was sitting on the couch, her phone in my hand, tears streaming down my face. How long, I asked, simply. The argument that followed was the worst of my life. Harper alternated between defending her actions and blaming me for invading her privacy by checking her phone. She claimed I was too controlling and too focused on the future instead of living in the moment. When I pointed out that she was the one who had been eager to set our wedding date, she accused me of putting too much pressure on her. I did not mean to hurt you, she insisted, though her actions clearly indicated otherwise. I just need more time to figure myself out before committing forever. And you thought the best way to do that was to cheat on me, and then ask for an open relationship, I asked, my voice rising, despite my efforts to stay calm. Did you really think I would agree to that other couples make it work? She argued. It is not like I want to leave you. I just want the freedom to explore other connections too. As she continued making excuses, something hardened inside me. This was not the woman I had fallen in love with. The Harper I knew valued honesty, commitment, and respect. The person standing before me now was a stranger willing to throw away our entire relationship for a vacation fling with a DJ. I want you to leave, I said, quietly interrupting her latest justification. What do you mean? She asked, clearly not understanding. I mean, I want you to pack your things and get out of our apartment. Today. Now. Harper laughed as if I was making a bad joke. You cannot be serious. Where am I supposed to go? Call Jessica, I suggested coldly, or Zach. I am sure one of them will be happy to take you in. When she realized I was serious, Harper's demeanor changed completely. Tears filled her eyes and she began pleading. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But we can work through this. People overcome infidelity all the time. Please do not throw away everything we have built. You already threw it away, I responded, my resolve strengthening with each passing minute. You have 24 hours to get your essential things. The rest we can arrange later through friends. Harper switched tactics, becoming angry. This is my apartment too. You cannot just kick me out. The lease is in my name, I reminded her. You never wanted to be on it because you said it would affect your credit score for buying a house later. Remember that. When we were planning our future together, for the next several hours I helped Harper pack in silence, each box feeling like another nail in the coffin of our relationship. She alternated between crying, pleading, and accusing me of overreacting. I remained firm. By evening she had packed enough clothes and personal items to last a few weeks. Jessica arrived to help her move the boxes to her car. Before leaving, Harper tried one last time. Can we just talk about this when emotions are not so high? Maybe in a few days. There is nothing left to talk about, I told her. Please leave your key on the counter. After they left, I sat alone in our suddenly empty-feeling apartment. The silence was deafening. I poured myself a drink and called my brother David, the only person I felt I could talk to in that moment. He came over immediately, listened to the whole story, and assured me I had made the right decision. You would never be able to trust her again, he pointed out. And she clearly does not respect you, if she thought you would agree to an open relationship after she cheated. The next few days were a blur of painful tasks. Calling the wedding venue to cancel our reservation. Explaining to confused friends and family what had happened. Returning Harper's engagement ring to the jeweler, who offered sympathy but only a partial refund. Through it all, Harper continued texting and calling, her messages evolving from angry, "You are being childish and unreasonable," to remorseful. "I made the biggest mistake of my life," to manipulative. "If you really loved me, you would forgive me." Jessica called to apologize for her role in introducing Harper to Zach. "I never thought it would go this far," she claimed. "I just thought they would hit it off as friends." Even Harper's parents came to see me, apologizing for their daughter's behavior and asking if there was any chance of reconciliation. I thanked them for their concern but remained firm in my decision. Some broken things cannot be repaired. The first few weeks after Harper left were the hardest. Every corner of the apartment held memories. The coffee mug she always used sat untouched in the cupboard, her favorite throw blanket still draped over the couch. The framed photos of us I had packed away in boxes, unable to look at them but also unable to throw them away. Sleep became elusive, my mind constantly replaying signs I should have noticed and wondering what I could have done differently. David became my lifeline during this time. He insisted I join him for dinner twice a week, dragged me to the gym when all I wanted to do was wallow in misery, and listened patiently when I needed to vent. My other close friends, Ryan and Marcus, organized weekend activities to keep me distracted from basketball games to hiking trips. Their support reminded me that even though I had lost Harper, I was not alone. Gradually, I started rebuilding my life. I threw myself into work, taking on challenging projects that required my full attention. I redecorated the apartment, replacing furniture and rearranging rooms to make the space feel new. I resumed old hobbies I had neglected, like playing guitar and photography. Each small change helped reclaim my identity separate from being Harper's fiancée. 3 months after our breakup, David convinced me to join a support group for people who had experienced similar betrayals. The stories I heard there helped me realize my situation was far from unique, and many people had survived and thrived after such painful experiences. One particular piece of advice from the group leader stuck with me. Forgiveness is not about excusing their actions or letting them back into your life. It is about freeing yourself from the burden of anger. Harper continued her efforts to reconnect. Flowers delivered to my office, handwritten letters expressing regret. Once she even showed up at my apartment, unannounced, only to find I had changed the locks. Each time I maintained my boundaries, responding briefly and factually when necessary, but refusing to engage in emotional conversations. 6 months after our breakup, I heard through mutual friends that Harper and Zach had ended whatever relationship they had. Apparently, his passion and adventure had extended to several other women simultaneously. A week later, Harper called asking to meet for closure. Against David's advice, I agreed to a brief coffee meeting at a public cafe. Harper looked different, somehow smaller and less confident than I remembered. She apologized profusely, admitting she had made the worst mistake of her life and had been caught up in the fantasy of what Zach represented. "I know now what real love looks like," she said tearfully. "What we had was precious, and I threw it away for nothing." I listened quietly, surprised to find that her words no longer had the power to hurt me. "I forgive you," I told her finally. "But that does not mean I want to try again. Some things once broken cannot be put back together the same way." "Is there someone else?" she asked, noticing the change in me. "No," I replied honestly, "but I am open to the possibility now." As our conversation ended, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Walking away from that cafe, I knew with certainty that I had made the right choice all those months ago. Harper's betrayal had been painful, but it had also freed me from a relationship that would have ultimately made both of us unhappy. A year after that fateful day, when Harper returned from Miami, my life had transformed in ways I never expected. I had been promoted at work after the successful launch of a security program I had developed. I had taken up rock climbing and completed my first half marathon. I had even started cautiously dating again, including a promising connection with Lauren, a thoughtful software developer from my company's design team, who understood the value of honesty and commitment. Looking back, I realized that Harper's betrayal, though devastating at the time, had ultimately been a gift. It had taught me the importance of self-respect, of maintaining clear boundaries, and of recognizing when someone's actions do not match their words. Most importantly, it had shown me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from something that no longer serves you, even when every emotional instinct screams at you to hold on. Sometimes the doors that close in your life are not losses but opportunities to find the room where you truly belong. If you have ever experienced betrayal or had to make a difficult decision to protect your own well-being, share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else who is struggling with a similar situation. Do not forget to like this video if you found it meaningful, and subscribe to hear more stories about finding strength in difficult times. Remember, you deserve someone who chooses you clearly and consistently, not just when it is convenient for them. Thank you for listening, and I wish you the courage to always stand up for yourself, even when it breaks your heart.